Puppy Trainer Show. This is where we answer all of your questions about puppyhood. I'm Bethany.
And I'm Sparky from the Puppy Academy.
If you have a puppy question you need help with, join us live every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific time on Instagram or TikTok at the Puppy Academy.
This is where we tackle your toughest training challenges and guide new puppy parents on how to make puppyhood easy.
If you're ready for more in-depth puppy help right now, check out our online school at thepuppyacademy.com to have us personally guide you through every step of puppyhood and in raising a happy, well-mannered pup.
We're excited you're here. And now, let's get to the show.
Howdy!
Welcome!
Hello, everybody. I am Bethany, this is Sparky, and this is Mr. Adorable. Who is this?
That's Waggle.
Are you serious?
No way. Waggle, known as Wags. Oh,
Yes.
so cute.
Yes.
He's like the sturdiest little puppy.
His arms are about 3.5, 4, maybe 4 inches long. He's about maybe 1.5 feet long. He is a very interesting Bernedoodle.
Like his neck and he's just so sturdy and thick.
We see 2 types of Bernedoodles, the short ones and the tall ones. He is 100% the short ones.
I love him.
Too much. And guys, welcome to Ask a Puppy Trainer Show, episode 185.
Is that what this is?
This is 185.
Is that what this is? Okay.
No, is it?
This is Ask a Puppy Trainer Show.
I mean, it could be if you want it to be.
All right, we love it when you guys are live and we prioritize the questions that you guys send us. This one's a little wild. Oh, that tail is so happy right now.
He's gripping my arm and pulling
Sorry.
in. He's actually pulling towards me.
See if I can calm this beast down.
All right, I want to start with one that I don't get asked this that often, but I really like it because it's very situational on where you live. From Jakara. How long should I keep a playpen? My Yorkie is 14 weeks now. Is a playpen a lifetime essential? That is really about preference. So if I leave for work for many hours a day, I have a small Yorkie who probably will never learn how to jump over the playpen as long as you have a tall enough one, they can't climb it. You might actually use that for a long time because you know they're safer inside of it. They have a little water bowl, they have their food bowl, they have their bed, and they might even have a little potty pad in the corner if they still can't hold their bladder long enough. I know other people who are less comfortable with having the roof open. What do they call it? Puppy condos, or what do you call those?
I don't know.
It's like
there's the apartment.
They're like
crates.
the puppy apartments,
Yeah.
which is literally, there's a doorway in the halfway point of the crate that opens up into a potty area.
That would make me feel safer.
And the other side, yeah, because we don't want paws getting caught, things like that. So what's the situation for it? Lifestyle. It's a lifestyle choice.
It's totally fine.
If you're doing it to train and you want to eventually get your puppy potting outside, not in the playpen area that you're using, that's a little bit different. Then you would want to eliminate it, or at least eliminate the potty pad in it and maybe shift the playpen to a different area of your home that she's not used to potting in. And then you would just start taking her outside for potty. One of the things I get though is if people are in LA, like LA's like New York City virtually, high rises, like big skyscrapers, they're on the 25th floor. It's an 8-minute elevator ride down and the dog keeps potting inside the elevator. I would say try whatever schedule you're doing in situations like that until your puppy can hold it for a little bit longer or get them out sooner downstairs for potty. So yeah, lifestyle. How you doing on them?
Well, I got chewed on a little bit. At first it was like a big chew.
That's the big issue at home, nippiness.
But then it was really mild and just like genuine chewing because it's comfortable. Mm-hmm. And it's been a while since we talked about this. When I get this kind of chewing, I don't make a big deal about it. It doesn't hurt. It did a little at first, but I stopped moving, and I think it was me. Like I stopped moving. I didn't fight him. And he just stopped biting down hard. Now he's just munching so sweetly and delicately. Mm-hmm. And we do handle that different. I might just make a fist. And then I will just readjust the dog like, hey, and I'll just redirect to a toy. I might not even say no if it's not excessive. I'll just make a fist and freeze for a second. Oh, now I get kisses. And if I get kisses, I'm going back in for scratchies. And notice how calm my hands are. Every time I do the calm exercise with clients, they're still like this. They'll stay low and not go over the head anymore, but they're still so fast, like slow fingers, guys.
It's overstimulating your dog the faster your hands go. And a lot of times when you stop doing it,
Yeah.
That's when you get the bite. And it's not a
Exactly.
malicious bite. It's just them feeling overstimulated. And how do dogs communicate overstimulation?
However,
Bite.
if I get a dog biting with intent, biting and biting down, jumping at me to do any nipping, which I have no doubt he does in a different
I
circumstance.
talked to Mom last night. He does.
Instead of just like making a fist, pausing, taking a breath, redirecting with a toy because he clearly has this chewing need right now.
If you guys just saw, he just reached out to bite at her arm.
A Kong,
escalation.
A Kong or something like that. I don't do a big no, but if I'm getting this is teasing, but if I'm getting that reach out, the intent and actually biting down, holding, anything like that.
He found it. He found it.
I am gonna put a leash on my puppy, do a little pressure up, like, hey, knock it off. And then stop touching my puppy. Like, they want to do something. They want me to pull out food, which you should have on you. If you have a puppy outside of crate or playpen, under 5-6 months old, you should have food on you all the time because you're training 24/7, whether you like it or not. And so redirect.
You got to highlight on something
redirect on what the puppy is giving you, the kind of energy they're giving you. But just use the leash straight up in the air and just pause. Just take a breath, pause, then relax the leash. And you can do this on harness too. I actually just did this with a tiny little 3-pound poodle puppy. You can do it on harness too. And you just pause, you wait for just a few seconds of settling, and then you better do something. Play, some type of activity, right? Playtime, work time, or crate time, because you don't have time to give them what they need in that moment, and you're building frustration. And so just keep that in mind out there. This little guy's had it. Ricky, can you take him?
She said something, she brushed over it. We're going to retackle
What did
that.
I brush over?
You mentioned
So heavy.
2 things that kind of conflict a little bit, but the way that you do them don't conflict. So she was petting him, and he was nibbling at her, but it was a much softer bite, kind of just mouthing. She got him to stop, whatever technique she used. And then he stopped, and she mentioned you can go back to then calmly petting the chest again. About 3 minutes later, then he started biting harder and started getting more cranky and frustrated. And Bethany said, stop petting when you get to that frustration state, and a little bit sooner even, because once you get to that, it's already like you've lost your moment to have a good experience with that pet. Mm-hmm. Puppies want to work, dog especially.
You've also become permissive. Mm-hmm. And so when you do try to influence your dog's behavior that you don't like, it's not going to work. It's like telling your kid that this is the bedtime. Yep. We're going to be strict on bedtime. And then what do they do that night? 5 more minutes. And you're like, okay, 5 more minutes. What do you think is going to happen in a week of being permissive like that and being pushed around? And you're like, okay, now we're serious about bedtime. You're going to get even more escalation from the kid. It's the same thing with dogs. Okay, we can move on. I can talk about that all day, but we can move on.
Oh, I got 20 more minutes of conversation for Waggle.
Okay.
All right.
No,
you got a long one?
I don't know. Let's see. What? Oh, this is a really specific one. What schedule do you recommend for a 3-month-old pug puppy? I've got school daily, so I don't have 100% of the day with her. Should I leave her in crate or put her in a playpen until I get home? All right, Zooey Mama.
What is it?
That's the handle. And she did this cool little, I don't know how she did that on the side.
I wouldn't do that.
Zooey Mama. All right. I wonder what your dog's name is. That's pretty interesting. Okay.
Zooey.
So I would
probably.
Oh, maybe. Zooey Mama. Maybe.
Is your pug named Zooey?
Zooey. Oh, that's so cute if that's it. Okay.
I kind of like that name.
Yeah. It's for a nutty. I about said stupid.
We definitely don't have ADHD.
I just about said stupid. Sorry. For a nutty pug. It's fine. It's great. It's perfect. Okay. Anyway. It depends. You didn't tell us how long you're gone. It depends. And it depends on the age of your puppy. I mean, on average, an 8-week-old, an hour and a half in crate, not moving around. Outside of crate, 20 minutes, maybe 30.
Pugs are super accident prone.
Ugh. And then you can tack on about a half hour, roughly. This is roughly, guys. You can tack on a half hour for about every month of your dog's age, after that. So, 2-3 months might be 3 months old, might be 2 hours, 2.5 hours before they need a potty break. So that's how you're really looking at this. And so for me, I'm not a fan of playpens for the vast majority of dogs when you are leaving the home, because they are very dangerous for a lot of reasons, even with small dogs. I mean, sometimes, especially for small dogs, they get...
I don't even like the zipper ones. They have the playpens that zipper the ceiling on top. Not a fan of them. Dogs can grab that, pull the zipper, get their head stuck in the hole.
Yeah. So it's always about crate for me. But I will say this, since you have such a small dog, this is pretty easy. And they're not too terribly expensive. You can do your crate for potty training, which is a small crate where your dog can just turn around, lay down, maybe stretch a little bit. The head doesn't hit the top of the crate, but there's not like a ton of room. Or you've already got a bigger crate and you've got a divider, but that divider is not fun to move in and out of the crate. So this isn't something you could do daily, just FYI. And then your second crate is bigger. You could go fancy and do the apartment potty where they actually have a little place to go and potty in a potty area that you set up for them. I would do whatever the breeder did to start out with. If your puppy's 3 months old.
There's a knockoff one that you can find that's about a quarter of the original's price.
Well, then what is the name of it?
I don't remember.
Super
but if they
helpful.
look it up, they're probably going to find it.
Maybe knockoff potty apartment.
What I'm saying
crate.
though is it's very high quality. So if you find it and you're curious, it's good quality.
But for me, I might just get a big crate too, and this is the one where I leave. And in the back section is puppy pads or a grassy patch or whatever. And then in the front is just a little bit of water. Not too much. Well, it depends on how long I'm gone, but a little bit of water in the front and maybe a Kong or something that's not too small, and
Does it matter if they put the potty pad in the front or the back?
I would put it in the back, yeah.
So they can spend most of their time in front clean. Okay.
They tend to spend most of their time in the front anyway. Most puppies do, because they're waiting at the gate for you to come home.
If you have a more anxious puppy who maybe rests in the back where it's a little bit darker, flip the potty pad area. Where they like to sleep, put the potty pad in the opposite space.
There you go.
Help! Our 12-week-old puppy is fine with her crate when we are home, but if she wakes up from a nap after approximately 1 hour and realizes that we left the house, she goes into full panic. What do we do?
How does she know you left the house if she's in a dark room, back beside the bed, and there's a fan or something going on to drown out outside noises? Maybe that'll help. Maybe. I could be totally wrong, by the way.
Believe it or not, her passive-aggressive was going to be nicer than my answer, so let's just stick with yours. Yeah. All right.
That wasn't passive aggressive.
That was super passive aggressive.
No, it really wasn't. It was sarcastic, with a touch of sarcasm.
I'll take the sarcasm. That's fair. Sorry, my sarcasm is always passive aggressive. Waking up from a nap after 1 hour, you guys being gone. Yeah, as long as she's in a different room, covered, she shouldn't even know. And honestly, if she does do the barking, I have told people to leave specifically if the barking is really hard to deal with when you guys are home. Some of us are more sensitive, we're more empathetic, and we can't hear an hour approximately of barking.
Yeah.
It's
or
okay to
you've got
leave your home.
kids that are home.
Oh, that's good too.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got a 16-month-old running around, they're not going to school, they're home all day.
Yep.
And then you've got to kind of go out of your way to try to soundproof where your puppy is the best you can. Now, if you've got a kid and you're in a 1-bedroom or a studio apartment and you have a puppy, then you've got a lot more obstacles. Do you have a walk-in closet? Can you use your bathroom for a small breed? If it's a small breed puppy, I don't know how.
I'm working with a client that also has a similar situation. They have a newborn baby and they actually have to stagger the crate time with the sleep time. So when baby's asleep, puppy's awake getting trained, they have to do about 30, almost 40 minutes of exercise and training, and then about 15, 20 minutes of downtime. This is a 8-month-old dog, so significantly older than a 12-week-old puppy, just to give you context. Yeah. But they have to do that so when the baby wakes up and comes out, they're not on a crate schedule. The puppy goes to sleep when the baby wakes up. It's like clockwork. Puppy gets to sleep for about 3, maybe 4 hours. 8-month-old versus a 12-week-old. So you're doing an hour, hour and a half maybe. And then that's how they stagger it to still be able to get the puppy to sleep, but also have their baby able to sleep as well.
The only thing I would add to your specific situation, because we don't know a lot of details, is that you may need to not only have a white noise machine, but also be playing some type of talk radio or Netflix sitcom, you know, like Friends or Seinfeld, where there's just people talking 24/7, and pretend you have a baby in the house, even if you don't, because when you open and shut doors, it causes a wind shift. You know, and so if you're like coming in and you want to stay like you're not home because you're practicing, you have to open and close your door very slowly. So just some little tips there. Feel free to write us back and just let us know like what you're already doing. You might already be doing all of that. I'm still struggling.
1 week ago, I gave them the advice to start leaving the house once a day for 2 hours each time. The barking stopped after 3 days. Now they can be home or they can be gone. The dog won't bark in the crate. She just had to bark for that hour and not get let out, and she slept for an hour after.
This is a good. We're not getting questions today.
That's weird.
That's so weird. We
I
usually
don't
can't like get to all of them on Instagram, but that's cool, guys. I'm not picking on you. I'm just saying that like if you have a question and you put it in the chat, we'll prioritize you. Flower Mom says 5-month-old puppy won't sleep past 5 a.m. barks excessively, even if I've given her a potty break. That is a pain in the butt. But I'll be honest. I mean, depending on the age of your puppy, especially if you have male, like an intact male, which obviously would be intact at 5 months old, you might be dealing with an energy spike hormonally as they're getting into adolescence, and you might be going to bed too early for this dog. You know, if you're a 9 p.m. kind of person, or even 10, that's 7 hours. You know, and so that might be what you're dealing with. And
we see that a lot here at Puppy Academy. Is there's an expectation of how long a puppy can sleep for, because an older dog was able to do it in a past experience, so they're still kind of expecting that. You got to build up from it. Final potty right before bed. I'm in bed by 10.
Brush
They're
teeth.
out at 9:59.
Yeah, you brush teeth.
Potty.
You're like all, I mean, maybe not in jammies if you live in an apartment. I mean, I would be in jammies, but.
Yep. And then I got my 5 a.m. robe and slippers sitting by the back door. 5 a.m. rolls around. I start.
But she is doing that. She is, see, this is the next part of it that I was going to say is you are taking the puppy out to potty. The puppy should go back in crate and be settled. So maybe, I don't like pacifying arousal, but I'm also not a person that does well without sleep. So I might train my puppy to take Kongs filled with their kibble and some wet food, some like preferably homemade wet food, like just a little bit of ground beef or something. But I would mix that together, and when I'm present with my puppy for like 2-3 days, they get it all out of the Kong. It's the traditional Kong with the 2 holes on either end. And then I would start to freeze it. And then maybe at 5 a.m. I can take my puppy out to potty and then just give them part of their food in their Kong and go back to bed. Because the only other option, well, you have 2 other options. One is to work the dog, and the other is to correct the dog. Find a way to correct the puppy in crate to just see if that works. Some puppies are so sensitive. One little squirt of a pet corrector or one tap on top of the crate. No.
Don't hit the dog, you hit the crate.
Yeah, one on top. No, cut it out. One, like, half asleep, pick up a shoe. You know, like sometimes that's all it takes and you can go back to bed.
I've seen that work so many times where an owner just gets frustrated. Doesn't get up, tosses a shoe, and the puppy's like...
And then we get an email of like, this is how I fixed the problem, the big problem.
Yeah.
Paid you X amount of money to work on. Yeah. So, you know, those are some of your options.
I gotta read this one because this is so common. Mott's for thoughts. My 5-month-old cries hysterically during supervised separation, i.e. playpen or crate, while being able to see me. How do I correct this? He's been doing this for the last 2 months. I already know you want it, Bethany. Take it. You gotta let me have a little bit though.
Get rid of that playpen. Your dog hates it. I hate it. You don't need it.
And you're probably going to either shift to some kind of place back tie situation if you already taught place in some version of place duration.
And with body blocking.
Yes, with body locking. We do have an online school. If you guys have any interest in learning that from us, you guys can check out our online school. Otherwise, check out YouTube. There are a couple videos that just don't go into as much detail. But that's my first step. Man, that one's tough. Yeah, get rid of that. And honestly, if they can't exist outside of crate without having something to do, that's a key factor. And they just go back to the crate after their walk, their play, and their training because they probably need more crate training and more sleep time inside the crate to create a better balance. That could be separation anxiety, or it could be because, I already know you want to say it, go.
Well, I don't know, but I think there's a lack of ability of your dog to be calm around you, potentially, unless they're maybe at your feet. So that could be an exception, like maybe your dog is really can calm and go to sleep at your feet.
I was thinking more of the exercise too.
But, well, yeah, but not in the playpen. So if that's the case, then you do have what he mentioned, the anxiety factor, and you need to work on that. You need to work on your waiting at thresholds, waiting for food bowl, more impulse control. 5-month-old dog can do place 6 feet from you, back tied for 20 to 30 minutes without getting up with a trainer's help. Absolutely no problem. But obviously doing it on your own, a little bit more challenging. But just to give you an idea of the expectation, they absolutely can do that and start to do some distance. But let's say when you have your puppy out of the playpen, they're pretty nutty too. They seem like they can't settle. They're always following you around and getting into stuff and you're just like, oh my God. And you just have a lot of drive. Your puppy has a lot of drive and you might
Sounds like a lab.
You might really need to, or the GSP I just had.
Oh, yep.
You might need to practice calm, but in order to do that, this is what he's wanting me to say, you need more exercise potentially. I would do some stacking if you think you're in that category, stacking. So you do your walk and the puppy brain may only have like 15, 20 minutes. Do your walk, do your fetch, which should be fairly structured. And you need to see a shift in your puppy's energy. And so I'm not an advocate for like exhausting your puppy every day because I think you can then accidentally build your dog's ability to go longer and longer. But to get over the hump, to teach your dog how to settle in the house on leash next to you, you might need to do 3 days to a week of this stacking. It's like you got a little Malinois at home, you know, you got to do the walk, you got to do the play, and then you've got to have the dog on leash with you. You do not engage with the dog at all unless you're telling the 5-month-old what not to do. Okay. Have place right next to you. It does make it a little easier. We do go over all of this in our online school, by the way. And have the dog next to you settled and you can do some food work. Like that's fine. But you're teaching the dog to be chill outside of crate and outside of playpen. You just need that stacking of exercise to see a decrease in energy. You can't try to do this exercise when, you've just had a 15-minute walk and the dog is still like, what next? What next? You can't do that. You actually have to have a tired dog for a few days and then you practice this at the end. What does that mean? That means you probably need an hour chunk of time. And I'm not trying to be mean, but if you can't find an hour chunk of time of day for, your dog, if I don't have the breed, so this isn't true for everybody, but if any of you got a working dog out there.
I feel like it's a lab.
If any of you got and Lab is a working dog and you don't have an hour a day for that dog, you're in trouble anyway, honey. So. Yep. All right.
Say less, do more. Talk less to your dog, do more with him. Because everyone, sit.
And it's, puppy come, yay!
Just step back and show them food.
Keep it chill.
Yeah.
Keep it cool.
Wait, we got one on here
else?
too. I want to go over one of these because we have a few that kind of follow what we've already answered. I just want to relate it back.
Okay,
so
cool.
Danny from TikTok said, how long can the puppy stay in the crate during the day? I don't work from home. We mentioned age. So she was mentioning for a 3-month dog, you probably get about an hour to an hour and a half. Like
maybe 2.
Towards an hour and a half.
Labs are notorious for being able to hold
Labs, I bet you get 3.5
hold
at
a pee
3 months
longer.
old. Every month is about 30 minutes on the crate schedule. Large breed dogs tend to be able to hold it longer right off the bat, but you can't assume they can do it. But all of it comes down to how much water are we giving? How much exercise are we giving? How often are we getting them out for potty? What's the expectation of them being able to settle?
See, he's focusing on potty and then he's mentioning temperament. So you got 2 things to look at. Potty ability and temperament. My 13, 14-year-old border collie has a 4-hour limit. All of my other dogs, I don't do this, by the way, but they could go 7, 8 hours if I needed them to. There's been a very few times in my life where I've needed them to, and they did it like is no big deal. Yeah. My border collie still can't. That's temperament. So you've got the two things to look at.
What's he do after 4 hours?
He whines, he paces, and then he starts scratching at the carpet at the door. If he's in crate, he howls like he's dying.
That's what Cheyenne does too.
And he never howls. He doesn't even hardly make noise. Except like grumbly. That's like for play and scratchies.
And just for clarification, the reason I asked Bethany that is Bethany's dog is incredibly well trained in every way you could ever imagine. It's the dog trainer's dog. So even that dog is willing to howl. That may not apply to everyone's dogs. Your dog may do an hour and a half in there and then start doing all the same things she just said. But that doesn't mean that's the max they can do. That's just the max they feel they can do with their level of training.
Yep.
You can start growing that more and more by doing a little bit more training when they're out, so you tire them out a little bit more.
My recommendation is to never even try to go over 4 hours under 1.5 years old.
Sorry, I meant the 1.5 hours for the younger dogs. Like when you're trying to
potty train.
Yeah, potty training from the 1.5 to 2 hours with the like 3 month to the 4 month. That's what I was talking about, not the 4 hour mark.
Did you have another question?
Tips for counter surfing: have a leash on and make sure you're holding that leash.
Yep.
If you have no
Set 'em
leash,
up.
you have no leverage, there's nothing you can do about it without being physical with your dog, and that's not how we teach.
Physical, we gotta get physical.
Which we don't get with puppies. And this is a puppy show. So I'm not going to give the advice
don't
of
know
the
the
physical
age.
end of it.
And we don't
I know,
know the age.
that's why I'm saying all
Yeah,
this.
we don't know
This
the
is a puppy show, so assuming it's a puppy,
devil's
we have a
advocate.
leash on him.
Devil's advocate.
You want to play devil's advocate?
Devil's
All right,
advocate.
get it, girl.
So we do get physical with puppies occasionally.
Is this our new thing? Is it getting...
So anyway, love that era. Anyway, so you can do blocking. So the physical he was talking about is physical with the leash, like a leash interaction, like a leash check or something like that, which we would not do for a puppy under 6
No,
months.
I'm actually talking about a board body block with body.
I absolutely would do that with it. If a 9, 10-week-old puppy put their paws on my counter, I am going to slide my body facing my puppy into them and be like, no, and do it's a really small block, but I will absolutely teach a 10-week-old puppy, get back, get space away from my countertop.
That feels more of a step in, not so much a body block.
It's a body block if they keep their little paws on the counter and I have to touch them. It's
Fair.
just gentle. It's way more gentle than if it's a 1-year-old.
Anytime you guys have heard us refer to body blocks and spatial pressure, it's usually like
this
a
is
4 to
more
6 month old dog doing jumping and it's like a knee bump. This is not that. This is actually
more
softer.
spatial. This is more
Yeah.
spatial pressure.
So that's like moving my body in and saying from here to there I'm going to walk. I'm just not going to stop.
And I'm going to make them give space.
I'm just slowly walking through them, but I'm not clocking them with a knee. We're not bumping them with a knee.
Not that young.
No, we're talking like 4 to 6 months is when I start getting a little bit more movement in, small bump, they give space, we ask for command. We're not there yet.
But I would never do that if I'm not also backing that up with waiting at thresholds, teaching place duration,
Dragging a leash.
dragging a leash, having tons of fun with recall and fetch and exploring the yard or something like that. So you can't just go like
You have
this
to
is
open up the pathway
balanced.
to create this balanced training by doing the other end of it.
opening up the pathway to balanced training by doing both sides of it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Can you answer this one before you go?
Okay, we were gonna leave you. We were gonna leave you, but Emma,
With the rainbow.
That's a great question you're gonna love.
any tips for taking your fully vaccinated puppy to the dog park for the first time? Don't do it, Emma. Don't do it. Don't do stop. In the name of love. Okay, in the name
You
of
know I was dead. I wasn't even live for any of these.
Okay, don't do it. Giardia, dog bites, learning terrible behaviors, getting other diseases. What's the lepo disease?
Leptospirosis.
Leptospirosis. Teaching terrible habits, whining in the car, never coming to you when
Okay, stop. I'm going to give you an easy one. If you plan on training your dog and you plan on training puppy socialization, do not go to the dog park until your dog's an adult dog. And even then, we don't even recommend it. But we understand that we're a bit judgy. So like there should be a point at least that you work up to. Here's the reason we don't want dog park. I can give an example. I'm not going to say names of dogs, so that'd be rude. No, forget that. We're already over. If you want to stay and listen, stay and listen. If
I gotta go. No, I actually have to go.
Oh, you do have to go?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'll be quick then. Sorry, guys. All right, so we have a puppy that has gone to the dog park and also been in our program doing socialization.
Oh, story.
Day 1 to 3, we didn't see very much of a difference because the dog had just been vaccinated, old enough to go to the dog park in the first place. We're on week 2, day 6. And we're very soon going to have a conversation of, hey guys, we're actually seeing more adult dog play. And what that looks like is puppies put paws on each other and back off and they run after each other. It's turning into a puppy will pull a paw on the dog, but then the puppy backs off scared and the dog turns around and wants to still play with them. That's how more adult dogs play. They more check each other for like paws and stuff.
Which can be a good thing, but only among like comfortability.
You need balance.
Within a pack,
yes.
yeah.
So you need an adult dog to be able to check a young dog and then back off and soften.
But you don't have to have that.
That doesn't happen at dog parks and you don't need that to happen. That's actually your job as mom and dad. That's your job as leadership. So
2 things. We call it the Russian roulette.
Of the dog world,
Of the dog world.
Maybe you get a bullet, maybe you get an empty chamber, you never know.
And then the second thing that you got to remember is so many people are relying on the dog park to exercise their dog. And so there are so many poorly behaved dogs, under exercised, under disciplined at the dog park. And so what ends up happening is not like your dog becomes the bully or is bullied. And there could be something bad that happens out of that.
True time. I took my dog to the dog park for 2 years.
So did I. When I first moved here.
Yeah. When I first got her, I was probably a dog trainer for like 6 months at that point. And she was good for 2 years. Amazing. She got attacked on the 3rd year.
Yeah.
Viciously attacked. Surgeries, 20 grand worth of surgeries. And she can't play with dogs, ever. She's 12. She still can't. I'm a professional dog trainer. I'm around dogs all day long.
And we work outside of dog parks all the time with our clients. Every time I am there, there is a fight. A human gets bit, a kid gets knocked down, or it's just tons of squabbles.
You never know what's going to happen because you didn't train those other people's dogs, and most of them haven't trained them themselves.
And a lot of them are all sitting around under the shade, hanging out. What could you?
Oh yeah, shoot, yeah. We spent 5 minutes crushing it.
Really excited about the dog park.
I look into getting into a socialization class. Honestly, you could probably find, I'm just going to say some brands.
Like
any puppy socialization class, I know, Petco's a big one. They tend to do like a Saturday, Sunday, 11 to noon, where it's just literally a dog trainer standing in the middle. Owners are on the outside of it. And the puppies play and the dog trainer will kind of walk through the group. They just show you how to mitigate play.
So friends dogs, hikes and beaches, because you'll pause for a second and have a loose leash, on your harness or slip leash or whatever it is you're using, and a brief hello, and then, okay, let's go, buddy, and then food. And so it's like passing, that's always great for socialization.
Or give another option.
As long as the other dog is friendly, of course. You always want to check in, with that. But that can be a great way to depend. It really depends on the area you're in.
Also, temperament. Okay, we gotta go. If you have a dog that doesn't like another, yes.
Oh, yeah. All right, guys, love you so much.
Temperament's really important. Make sure you find a dog that your dog is similar to, or else they won't play with them.
That's not necessarily true. All right, we'll see you.
Similar temperaments is absolutely true.
Next week, same time, same place,
same
everything. I don't have time for this. I don't have time for this.
Thanks for tuning into Ask a Puppy Trainer Show.
We hope you found some advice that you can use to help make puppyhood a little easier.
Don't forget to join us live every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific time on Instagram or TikTok at The Puppy Academy.
This is where you can get a chance to ask your burning questions in real time. And if you want even more puppy guidance, visit our website at thepuppyacademy.com for info on joining our online puppy school.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing to our podcast and leaving us a review.
These reviews let more people find us and supports us on our mission to help as many puppy parents as possible around the globe.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.